Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrei Shevchenko. On behalf of the Mediacentru Ukraine, I greet all the journalists who share with the world the details of our fight for freedom. Here we have Natalia, Humeniuk, head of the United Coordinating Center of Security and Defense Forces of the South of Ukraine. Greetings, Humeniuk. Glory to Ukraine. And within the last 24 hours, we received information about the Ukrainian security and defense forces and their active actions on the south. This information was shared not only in Telegram channels and even in the official briefings of the headquarters and in your briefings. Could you please share what happens in the south? We currently have positional fights for improving our condition and to make the enemy change and reform the battalions. Yes, the fights and combats are currently in action. That is why we ask everybody to keep silent on the details. What is possible to share any information that we can currently share. Of course, we will share with you, of course, the aviation strikes that are being carried out and all of the details. Of course, on the south, we are going to improve the connection because the sound breaks up, so we're going to try and fix that. Can you hear us right now, Ms. Humeniuk? Because you are breaking up, as a reminder, we are going to have a briefing with Natalia Humeniuk, head of the United Coordinated Press Center of Security and Defense Forces of the South of Ukraine, and we are going to discuss the operational situation in the south, and today at 2:30 p.m. we will have Olga Kovalchuk, police captain and head of the Department of Juvenile Prevention at the Crime Prevention Directorate of the Main Directorate of the State Police of Ukraine in Lviv region. Now, coming back to our current briefing, I'm sorry we had to stop you when you were discussing how important it is to stay mute on the details. Could you please once again share what are the most recent news? We are currently what we need to say is that the hot and most recent news are still to come, and currently the operation is in progress. That is why we need to keep silent. We saw within the last weeks that lots of attention was paid to bridges and pontoon bridges that the enemy is trying to build across the Dnipro River for a person who doesn't have military expertise. Could you please share how important that is? Yes, the bridges and connections are important because Dnieper is wide enough, and that's a difficult uh, uh, way, but we cover by fire the transport and the logistics, and we prevent them from the logistics wins because we had very high precision strikes on the bridges, which are the main transport veins across the Dnieper. Now it's impossible to bring military hardware across. That is why the enemy is trying to create alternative pontoon bridges, but the geography is so that it's very difficult to do that, and they can't actually have these pontoon bridges in any other regions, so they had to keep recovering the bridges in the same geographical location. That's why we still control and destroy the new pontoons that they create. Right now, they have no logistics, no transport possibility to bring reserves from the left side, from the left bank of the Dnieper. So that's why they create the illusion of bringing those reserves by moving the troops in between different villages in order to create this image as if the reserves are being brought. Once again, I'd like to highlight that for now, Russian troops cannot provide military hardware from the left bench to the right one. Yes, because all of the bridges were made impossible for the military hardware by us. What other options do they have? They can keep trying to build the pontoons, but all of the territory, all of the locations where they could carry this out are also covered by our fight control and by our fire control. So we will destroy any alternative ways as soon as they are created. And where we hit the bridges, it also just to combat the fake news. I wanted to say that, for example, Kakhovska station was not hit. We do not hit the infrastructure objects, even though they are under occupation. We value them because they belong to us. We only fight and destroy the plans of the enemy. How useful is the hardware and equipment provided by our partners from abroad? We are very grateful to our partners for their support and for providing for everything that they provided for the educational programs, but the main thing is our will to win and our military men. We also saw some information about the so-called work and operations of Ukrainian insurgents. Could you describe their goals there and share more information about that? Of course, the main goal is removing the occupation, and the resistance movement within Kherson region is very strong. That is another proof that Kherson is Ukraine, and in the nearest future, both internal and external deoccupation will take place. Do you happen to have any additional information about the elimination of Kovalov? For now, only the information that was confirmed by the so-called official sources of the occupational officials, including the Russians one, when they confirmed the fact of death. For now, it's not the main important factor for the occupation. Do you happen to have any news about the so-called referendum being prepared in these occupied territories? Do you see or trace any changes in the occupiers' behavior? What we witness and can see is the tensions rising because the date that they announced for the referendum is coming close, but the situation is difficult for them, and even their attempts to gather the falsified personal data of population, this is not helpful, and the global community will not accept that. They don't even trust themselves that they will manage to do that. So they keep postponing that referendum. And it's not only the 11th of September that the all Russian voting date. Now they said the 15th, and I'm sure they will postpone it further on, and they will keep postponing. How could this intensified activity in the front line impact those referendum plans? Here there could be different scenarios implemented. They could either speed up this in order to gain at least something and to do the hasty something, or maybe they will postpone this in order to convince themselves that they are shaping their actions according to the so-called any legislation, but both versions are very vague in the mind of people who are involved in this organization of the referendum. They just have this fixed idea. My last question, can you confirm the information about liberation of villages? Maybe you have some villages that you could name that were liberated. I won't name them, and I call upon everybody to abstain from sharing this type of information. You need to understand that these villages are still in the vulnerable zone and could be hit by the enemy aviation and artillery strikes. Please do not put them at risk of intensified air strikes and artillery strikes. So please, only after the safety of these villages is secured, then only there will be an official announcement. And by that time, please do not intrude into our work. This was Natalia Humeniuk of the United Coordinated Press Center of Security and Defense Forces of the South of Ukraine. Thanks for your information and joining us today. Thank you. Our next briefing will be at 2:30 p.m. Please